Hi there, it's Rachel Martin, and you're listening to Parenting Teens Podcasts. So today I want to talk about body image. It's an issue I come across a lot with teens, and the biggest reason I want to talk about it today is because of the effect that it has on their self-esteem. Now, I think I'm quite safe to be able to say that there are points in basically everybody's lives when they're not 100% happy with how they look for one reason or another. And one thing to keep in mind when listening to this today is that at no point are you looking for your teen to absolutely adore everything about themselves. Being realistic here is really important. So I wonder if this sounds familiar at all. Oh, I hate how I look. What are you talking about? You're beautiful. What is it that you hate? This is your attempt to at least understand what this is for them. Oh, where do I start? My face, my height, my figure, my hair, my skin, even my ankles are chubby. I just hate it. Oh, come on, that's crazy. You look great. Besides, everyone is different. You have nothing to worry about. I wish you could just see what I do. Oh, yeah, whatever. You have to say that though, don't you? I mean, you're my parent. Or if you're really unlucky, you'll get the response of, oh, you just don't understand. And now you go from a sad teen to an angry one. So the spiral continues. You're back to walking on eggshells. That constant dilemma of you don't want to overpraise them, as it doesn't seem to be helping much, and you're not even sure that they can hear it. But the idea to say nothing, well, that just seems mean. The idea of saying nothing just feels impossible. I mean, who wants to leave someone feeling like this about themselves? So you try and juggle praise and support for every effort that you can see they're making. But you also know you want them to find ways to feel good about themselves, without it having to come from someone else. For them to just feel okay about themselves and not focus on what others think. So you watch the comments you make, you try to meet and support their efforts to feel better in themselves, even when sometimes it's less than easy to accommodate some of these things. This food, that exercise, or they need this cream or that hair product. You worry if what you're doing can be making it worse, and you just wish there was a magic way you could see their thoughts. And then you realise you even have to watch your comments about yourself. You can't tell them to stop being self-critical when you're doing exactly the same thing. And then for good measure, let's just add in the additional worry about what their friends are saying and thinking and what they're watching online, because all this could be making it worse too. And then if you're really unlucky, you'll get that god-awful moment where someone somewhere throws in a thoughtless comment or a joke about them. And boom, you're right back to square one. So I'm sure on some days you win. And some days it feels like you catastrophically lose. And the situation continues and your heart breaks a little more for them each day. So what are you supposed to do? How do you deal with this? Well, first and foremost, you need to stop your spiral. You need to check this isn't an issue that you're making from your worst possible fears, from watching your teen being sad and just wanting it all to be okay for them. So ask yourself this: is there a genuine risk here to what they're doing? Or do I just have a deep worry of the countless serious issues that could come with a low self-esteem? Are you worrying that this is the beginning of something that could become way more serious? How do you check? Well, the first place to go is your teen. Check if your teen sees an issue with this. Of course, you can see that sometimes they aren't happy about their looks, but is this an issue for them? Being comfortable with your body is part of your identity. And just like we can change our hairstyles, your teen needs to work out what they can and maybe want to change within the choices that are available to them. The rest of it is about acceptance. There is a fine line between being healthy and fit and being obsessive about it. And I get that. But you have to be honest, sometimes as parents, we create a sequence of events that maybe aren't strictly true. So what I mean is, get real with this. Check the facts from your teen with a step back from your panic. And check if this is a moment they're working through or if it's building towards a greater risk. Greater risk means that's a tick to go to your GP. They're the ones who are trained to help with this. There is no harm in going and getting second opinions. But if it isn't going to a greater risk and it is something that they're actively trying to work through, then I've got some tips that can help your teen move from focusing on everything that's rubbish to just being okay with how they look and who they are. And now I say okay, and I mean the word okay. Just to manage your expectations, okay is a great place for them to aim for. Now, it's no surprise that even just being okay with how we look is something that can be hard. It's really rare that I'd ever find someone who loves everything about themselves. I mean, I certainly don't. I'm definitely not like a straight 10 out of 10, but I'm okay with that. There's good bits, there's bad bits, and there's even jiggly bits, and I'm okay. So step one is get close to your teen's reality. Get as close as you can as what this means to them. And yes, this means listen. I know, shocker, right? We're back to listening. But I want you to understand what it's like to live as them. We're talking empathy here. And the key point is that it's empathy, not sympathy. Empathy is all about living in their shoes as them. Sympathy is the biggest turn-off I can absolutely promise you. It involves you thinking about what you would do in their situation. And I promise, unless a teen asks you for this perspective, they genuinely don't want it. In fact, in all honesty, most people don't want it. So it's listening to understand them, not to fix them. You want to know what they think, how they feel, and what they genuinely see when they look at themselves. And remember, none of this needs to be logical. The brain isn't always fussed with logic. It just wants us to be safe and happy. And if the belief that we hold is that to have smaller hips or to be 4 inches taller, that we'd feel happier, then that's where the focus is going to go. So get to this belief with them. Then you got something to focus on, instead of their whole body being an absolute entire gross fest. The next place to have a look at that might well help is compliments. How are they with compliments? I'm going to guess they're not great. They might be able to pretend they accept them. But in general, someone with a low self-esteem will find compliments uncomfortable. And it's because what you say doesn't fit with what they think. The danger is a compliment is said for the sole reason of making someone feel better. And right now, this could be doing the opposite for your teen. This is a process of self-discovery for your teen. So stop focusing on them seeing what you do. Start with trying to help them to be able to accept that what you see isn't necessarily what they see. But that doesn't mean that anyone is right or wrong. This is about the process of getting them to let a little light into their lives. If they can accept you think differently, you're moving forward to a place where this ridiculous image that they hold of themselves, that they truly believe is what everybody else sees, that maybe, just maybe, that isn't the case. Do others see something different? That sense of doubt in this firm belief is absolutely great. This is bringing to life that saying of beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Trust me, don't tell your teen that, or that everyone has different tastes and they're beautiful to someone. Things like that are going to get you a groan or an eye roll for sure. So start with them accepting you genuinely just seeing them in a different way, because it's your belief. And be big enough as well to say that you are aware that this is because you're potentially biased, but that this is your truth. Don't ever stop telling them your truth. Trust me, they hear it. And knowing someone sees them this way, it does help. They just don't always want to tell you that what you're doing helps. What you're trying to do is to get them from believing that everyone notices this flaw in them to actually seeing that they're more likely to be the only person who is focusing on it. So the next stage is to identify and be aware of red flags for your teen. Are there things they always do when they're on their way down? Things that will show you that they're starting to push at their self-esteem. Maybe it's they're doing more workouts, or they're becoming frantically worried about what food they're eating, or they're avoiding sports because they struggle due to this flaw that they have. These aren't the only indications, and they won't be the same for everyone, but they're just things I've seen before. But you need to find your teen signs that they're on their way in a downward spiral. Then you can do some of this fixing that I know you all love. Not on their body image though, but on all the wonderful things about them. Get things in that they enjoy. Invite them to engage back in life with you. Show them that they can still laugh and enjoy life no matter how they look, because they always control how they feel. As always, if you're falling a bit flat on this, then it is worth considering that maybe someone outside the close family could be an answer. And I don't necessarily just mean counselling because I'm a counsellor, but maybe even a family member that's further away, or someone closer to their age who might be able to get it, because this is one that you can't fix for your teen. Your teen needs to want to drop the need for perfection. But what matters is being okay with how you've turned out. To be able to flex the things that you can control and to begin to focus on how to make yourself happy instead of seeking praise from others to show that you're okay. It's something all teens go through. Identity is a huge part of personal growth, and it's achieved through this journey. I hate that word, but it fits, I'm afraid. It's not about them getting to a destination of thinking they're perfect. Self-esteem isn't built. It's something that just continues to grow and change the more you focus on it. You don't just have it and keep it forever. So to give you a bit of a recap, I want you to get to know what this is for your teen. No logic applied, and please check that you're not just jumping to a worst case scenario here. Investigate compliments with them and see if you can help them to get that other people's views don't necessarily have to agree with theirs, but they are what somebody else sees. Identify their red flags. Recognize their usual situations where the self-hating builds, and if they happen, up the focus on the fun in life they can have. Remind them that they can be happy and take the focus off of this flaw. Don't engage in flaw talk when they're not in the right place to do so. Be the relief from the thoughts in their head, not someone who's always making them drill deeper into them. Remember, you can't fix this for them. You just want them to feel okay about themselves. Now, I'm hoping this may spark some ideas or another perspective for you to take in how to support your teen to being okay with their self-image. This is another podcast that I've written following a message from a parent. I always love to hear from anyone who listens, so as I've said, if you have something you would like in a podcast, please send me a message and let me know. It's always nice to know that I'm not recording these in my room for nobody to ever hear them. So thanks again for listening, and as always, have a crack. So that's it for this episode. Thank you so much if you've listened this far. I really hope you've enjoyed it and found it useful. Don't forget to never miss another episode. Please click the subscribe button on whatever platform you're listening on. As always, if you have any feedback or ideas, please do get in touch. I always love to hear from anyone who's been listening to these. You can find me at teentherapistonline.com for my website, or Facebook and Instagram. I'm Teen Therapist Rachel Martin. I will always reply, so please, if you have anything you want to let me know about or ask about, please do just get in touch. And if you're feeling really, really lovely and you're listening on Spotify, you could leave me a review, which would really mean the world to me. Once again, I'd just like to say thanks, and I hope you have a super lovely day.